Negative, a bit toxic.
Oh, very toxic. It will be terrible. My law was motivated by the ideal that justice is important. And that was why I even in my law practice, I did litigation. My first few cases were about justice issue, real justice issue. And then I did some pro bono criminal work, because in criminal law is one area of law where justice is very prominent. So when I left law practice, I was very successful. I could go on forever. But I still left because I felt that I was very relaxed. So I think it's about your sense of calling, which is hard to explain. I mean, it's very personal. We end up being a service arm of kindness to many, many groups. And many people who join us because they find it meaningful. I have sometimes entertained thought that when I was practicing law, I could have stayed in law, and worked hard at it. Maybe I would have become a senior counsel. Maybe I would have made a lot more. When I am trying to raise money for charity, I find that it's quite a challenge. So I sometimes say to myself, maybe I should have worked for the first 50 or 60 years of my life. And then from 60 onwards, give all the money. Then a friend heard what I said and took me aside and said, you are who you are today because you decided not to make so much. But if you have decided to make so much and you are really successful in anything, he said, no doubt you could have. Then you could have changed too. Money could have become your master. You may not want to do it. My children told me that they wish I had spent more time. You will spend and invest time with them for 7 years. Then you build what I will call an emotional bank, and they will be connected to you forever. Even when they're off for a while, they still come back. I think first of all, you really need to just be kind to each other. I also have the ABC of kindness because I actually do solemnization of weddings as well. A stands for acceptance. You must accept that person for who he or she is. So B is for bonding. Right in the calendar on a regular basis, you try to find things to do together. And finally, the C stands for commitment. That means you are actually making a commitment to make it a lifelong partnership. Of course, I grant that divorces do happen. And sometimes, unfortunately, it could even be the best thing that people do get divorced. You're married to a man, for example, who is a wife bearer. I mean, I can't in clear conscience advise you to stay married to that man because you're going to be killed. But generally speaking, we all, when we decide to marry, should make a commitment to keep the marriage strong and long-lasting. It's a myth to think that two people can get together and then not argue. Even best friends argue with each other. After all, marriage really is about finding somebody who you call your best friend. You can have reasons to argue, but you can argue or reason in a very gracious way. Be willing, when you realize it's wrong, to apologize, and your spouse should be willing to forgive. So as humans, we got feelings, and so we do get angry. In fact, if anybody tells me that the guy is never any sense of anger, then I'm also worried. We should be angry about injustice. You can be angry for the day, but next day, you should let it go. Because if you accumulate all your anger, then you become resentful. Who wants to live with a very angry person who is angry at everything every day?
Negative, a bit toxic.
Oh, very toxic. It will be terrible. You can't do that. So we must always leave all this behind every day and start a new day. It is a myth for anybody to think that you are in control of your life. There are certain things you are in control, but not everything. So when I go through rough patches and all that, I figure out, not so much asking why me, why must I suffer, but rather, what is there I can learn from this? What is there I can do? Is this going to make me stronger? How can I be stronger because of this? Why do I need to worry? Because worry is actually spending our energy onto something that we can do nothing about. I might as well spend my energy in figuring out how to solve the problem rather than worrying about the problem. These things happen to all of us. They happen to me. You face the reality that this thing happened. You try to figure out, why it happened. You figure out that hopefully you can help prevent it from happening again. And sometimes it's quite mysterious. You can't figure out why it happened, why people that you love would turn against you. Then you let it go and you move on. In one case, it took me many years before I could forgive. But even after having forgiven, I still find it hard to forget. And I don't think that when people say forgive and forget, it's actually a fair thing to do. You can forgive, but it doesn't mean that you can forget. And maybe not forgetting is not a bad thing. Take the Holocaust for example. Why do we have Holocaust Museum and all that to remember what happened in the past. And it is our responsibility and our duty to do whatever we can to prevent it from happening again. Prayer for me is my self-care. It's a time to be quiet, time to meditate, time to feel gratitude. The other self-care would include exercise. Scientifically, it is a fact that when you are working out, things happen to your body. Serotonin kicks in, then you actually feel better. But intellectually too, we must exercise. And I think intellectually reading sharpens the mind too. I have time to socialize with my friends. I have time with my wife because at this stage in my life, all my children, my grandchildren are not here. So we Zoom with them every week from 6 different cities. One of our core values is to be positive, so when people ask us to do things, we don't then automatically default mode and say no, we can't. We always say let's look at it and see if we can. So I have a workflow where you ask a question: is this something within our mission? Can we do it? If we can, then go to the next level. How do we do it? Which team can do it? And then if we can't, we go to another flow. But who can do it? We recommend it to somebody else to do it. So every now and then we also do the SWOT test to figure out what our strength is. We want to do some gap analysis to figure out how can we be relevant, how can we fill the gap. The question therefore for me as an employer is to look at all these applicants who have similar qualification. What is it that distinguishes one from the other? So we look for character, reliability, soft skills. So obviously it's not just about aptitude, it's also about attitude. Money has never been and giving me autonomy, giving me, I can't work in a situation where I am micromanaged. I think people must remember that education is only a means of training their mind, equipping them with the ability to think. When they get out to the workplace, it is a chance for them to put all this into practice, to learn new things that they don't learn from school. So I would urge people who are starting out from school to workplace, please be modest and humble. Tell yourself, I need at least 5 years before I'm really. We can smell it if somebody is just putting on, not real, not genuine, just trying to impress. So I'm looking for authenticity. If you're honest, you can say, I'm not good at this, which is fine. Because if I'm going to employ you, then I will try to figure out what you're good at and put you where you're good at. I think if you're going for an interview with whatever company, it's always good for you to find out more about the company yourself. Go into their website. These days, it's not like the old days, we have no way to find out about a company. Today, you got a website. If somebody comes to kindness movement and then start wanting to do something, when I ask them, have you looked at the website? I say, no, you're in trouble. Because how can you really say you're interested in work for that? You're not even interested to find out about us. And if you don't know an answer, don't wing it. Go for it. Say you don't. I'll respect you for that. But if you try to fake it, I will know. So it's not going to impress me. Usually they will ask you, if you have any question, that's when you should have some question. Because if you have some question, they mean you impress me that you are actually curious, you're proactive, you're thinking. If there are other candidates who are just as good who also ask questions, I will choose them and ask them question. Why are you choosing this particular line of work? So why let me hear about motivation, about ambition, about what can you bring to the organization. Some people will ask for clarification because they have read something from the website, which is also good because they are curious about something. Some people will ask about where do I see the kindness movement in the next 5 years, which is a good question. In other words, they are looking ahead. And some may even ask me a personal question, which is also fine. They ask like, by the way, what made you join the kindness movement yourself? Why not? I tell everybody that I am not the most gifted person. I try not to go into areas where I'm not strong, and I surround myself with people with the strength that I don't have. It's a false comfort for people to surround themselves with weaker people so that they make themselves feel strong. I play to my strength. I think I have good relationship skills. I make people feel comfortable. Kindness movement is able to go so far because we build a lot of relationships. Second thing I think I am pretty good at is speaking. I can speak on my feet. I can give a talk without notes.
So what advice do you have for young people who are looking to start non-profits, non-profit, social enterprises?
come talk to us and come up with some good ideas. And if you know you can make a difference, we are interested to work with you.